playoff history. Dreams of underdogs are always bigger. And when they come true against the league's very best, they embrace the spirit of all sport. And for the young Denver Nuggets, they bring maturing belief in themselves and the supporting belief of their fans. Dreams on which to build, because great upsets can shatter the structure of basketball logic. Dreams can become reality. So on a Rocky Mountain high for the first time since Seattle, Dan Issel's road-weary Nuggets will be saluted by the home crowd. Jerry Sloan's Jazz have won the series' first 2 games. Now challenge Mile High Mutombo with their 1-2 all-star punch of top scorer Karl Malone and the game's best giver, John Stockton. But can they deny the emotional power of the underdog's dream?
This is the NBA on NBC. The 1994 NBA playoffs. Today, it's the Utah Jazz versus the Denver Nuggets.
It was a week ago today that the dream was born. Denver with the worst record in the playoffs, knocking out Seattle, the team with the best record. McNichols Arena, dream fever. And today the fans of Denver finally had their chance to cheer their young underdog heroes as the starting lineups for Denver presented to this crowd of over 17,000 fans. The introduction of those starting lineups right after these words.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Molson Ice from Canada, the land where ice was born. By the U.S. Navy, you and the Navy, full speed ahead. And by the all-new Mitsubishi Galant, filled with your favorite things.
Welcome back to the capital city of Colorado, and they are mile high today. The starting lineups for the visiting Jazz, who won the first 2 games at the Delta Center in Salt Lake City. All-pro John Stockton and the top shooting guard Jeff Hornacek. Tough at the free throw line. Big front line. Dalton Spencer. The mailman, Karl Malone, had a sensational game, too. Tyrone Corbin trying to find his shooting touch. Jerry Sloan, 300 wins this year, winningest ever on the Utah bench. For the young Nuggets, youngest in the league, Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, Brian Stiff in the backcourt. Mutombo, the Mount, Dikembe, the shot blocker extraordinaire in the NBA. LaPhonso Ellis, he had the game winner against Seattle a week ago, and the captain, Reggie Williams. Dan Issel, a Denver star as a player, a Hall of Famer, second year on the bench, and this revitalized franchise ready to try to hand back to Utah the 2 losses they suffered earlier this week.
This game is all about emotion for the Denver Nuggets, and they want to play flat out as hard and as fast as they can. And the Utah Jazz want to try to make this a half-court game and keep this crowd out of the ball game, make Denver make some outside shots.
Unable to hit, and it's John Stockton with a loose ball for the Utah Jazz. Stockton, the leader 7 consecutive years in assists in the NBA. Abdul-Rauf picks him up, and the mailman delivers on his first shot. Karl Malone had 32 in game 2. Reggie Williams ties it up. The only player in this Denver Nugget team that's 30 years of age. They average around 25. Half of the Utah team is 30 or older. Stockton unable to hit underneath, but gets it back. Delivers it to Dalton Spencer. Blocked by Mutombo. He had 8 in the last game. Gets one early today. Mutombo gives him a lot of room. Made up a lot of ground without putting the ball on the floor.
Well, there's nothing graceful about the way Mutombo plays at the offensive end. He's very gangly, very awkward, but if you give him room, he'll find a way to get it done. And that was a power effort by Dikembe. This is a guy that's really got to come to life for Jerry Sloan and the Utah Jazz. Ty Corbin has been struggling to find the perimeter shot. Should they be able to make that, that takes a lot of pressure off of Stockton and Malone.
Corbin shooting under 30% in the 7 playoff games for Utah thus far. Actually 6 games. They've won 5 in a row. That's a franchise record for Utah. Bryant Stiff, young star from the University of Virginia. 6'4", Denver.
And Mahmoud needs to be up on John Stockton and try to force him to go backwards. Don't allow Stockton to control the pace of the game. Get the ball to shooters where he wants. Back-to-back shots for Corbin.
Tied at 6, just underway here at McNichols Arena. A team that was a disaster just 2-3 years ago, building on its young power and the dream of what they did in Seattle. Williams unable to connect, and here comes Stockton.
So far, the ball game is being played at Utah Jazz tempo and pace. They want it this way so that they can get the ball to Malone inside, make whatever plays they need to. Felton Spencer
has his first points. Utah leads by 2 with 3 minutes gone. Mutombo. And he is fouled. Oh, they call traveling on Mutombo. Felton Spencer trying to talk. Mutombo says you get a lot of elbows from a lot of different places from the big guy.
Everyone that's played against Mutombo has had that complaint that, you know, you're seeing a lot of elbows and most of them are getting you in the head.
Second block by Mutombo. Stiff ties it at the other end. Now that's the kind of play that Denver needs in order to challenge Utah. They need a hurry-up game.
They need bust-outs. They need transition basketball. They need to keep the tempo high. Utah, on the other hand, likes to walk the ball up the floor, get on this side of the floor, and have an exchange between Stockton and Karl Malone.
Corbin, 3 in a row for Ty Corbin. 10-8 for the Jazz.
Corbin right now the X factor for the Utah Jazz. They didn't plan on him making these shots. Have all those you want, and he's knocking them down.
Now young LaPhonso Ellis against the veteran Karl Malone. Very quick with the hands. You can see him slapping away. He does that as well as anyone, and an illegal defense is the call. The warning against Utah. Ty Corbin not close enough to his man, guarding an area rather than a person.
Both teams shooting the ball extremely well, and that for the Nuggets, that's the biggest sign so far of improvement, making outside shots. They struggled in Utah to get that done.
10 on the shot clock. Mutombo and Spencer. Jump hook for Dikembe Mutombo, ties it at 10. He has 4 points. Although the Jazz won both games in Salt Lake City, Denver very much in both games going into the 4th quarter. Malone underneath to score.
No team executes better in the half court than the Utah Jazz. They've been running the same plays for 9 years. Nobody's got onto it yet. It's Stockton. It's the secret. He sets the screen for Karl Malone, and he gets the 2.
Mutombo again. That seems to be the plan early for Dan Issel. That's a little out of his range. And Spencer rebounds to Stockton. Stockton all the way. Blocked by Mutombo. 3 for him. Williams against Hornacek. He's fouled. The game is tied at 12. But it's Mutombo's defense at the other end keying that break.
Mutombo challenging John Stockton out high and then saying, you think you're by, and this is where he's so good, makes the block. That turns Reggie Williams loose.
Welcome back to Denver. Dikembe Mutombo, his third block in this opening quarter.
And the real secret of that is that they're forcing John Stockton to do things that he doesn't want to do. And out of that, they're going to get a chance to run. And when they can run, then they can be a very effective team against the Utah Jazz. Tempo is everything for these young Denver Nuggets, and they've got to have that.
And you said you can tell immediately whether or not they're doing the job on Stockton because he's going this way instead of toward the basket.
That's right. If you can force John Stockton to come back and back up, then you've got him under control. Anytime Stockton is going forward, bad things are going to happen to you. Either he's going to score the ball or he's going to make some sensational pass.
It's easy to look at Utah and say, well, if you can corral Karl Malone, keep him down, you can beat Utah. You feel that Stockton is the trigger man.
Stockton is the key to everything that Utah does. One, he's got the ball 90% of the time. He's going to set up everything that they do. And even when he doesn't have it, he's going to set a screen to free up Karl Malone. That's why they're best friends.
Into Malone. Stockton stays on the perimeter. Corbin hits again. Ty Corbin. 8 points, 4 for 4. Game tied at 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12. And now they're on the odd number, 14, 13. The Jazz with 6 minutes left in the first quarter. First shot for Abdul Rauf since the opening seconds, and he's been off badly on both.
He has a bruise and a wrap on his left leg, and he's been struggling just to get the ball up to the basket, and we'll watch that.
Corbin has him. 5 for 5 for Ty Corbin. Oh my, for a man who has been able to shoot barely 1 out of 4 in the playoffs, comes out red hot.
What a difference a couple of made shots will do for you. Now Corbin has grown in his offensive confidence. He will be much more of a factor at both ends of the floor.
But Abdul Rauf with a tray ties it at 16. Stockton. Rebound. Mutombo. No numbers here. 2 on 3, but Rauf. And a whistle. Foul underneath against Utah. So the little guy took it inside with the big trees. He may be the lightest man among the playoff competitors at 147 pounds.
He started the season at 158, and he felt that that was his best conditioning. He feels he's much stronger now, but he seems to be affected by the physical play. We'll keep our eye on that.
Can't save that one, and the long passes to Malone, and he loses it out of bounds. The defense by Reggie Williams. The mailman and his coach are not happy. There was a foul. It's going to be Utah's ball. And now Dan Issel's unhappy.
A good quick hands by Karl Malone forces his turnover, and he's out on a sprint. He was thinking he was going to be able to get to the line, threw his hands up in the air. The ball actually went off Karl Malone, but they could have called a foul on Reggie Williams.
That was the trade-off. 4.5 minutes to go in the quarter, tied at 16. Jay Humphreys in for John Stockton. Humphreys played nearby at University of Colorado. The quick pass to Karl Malone, and he finds the hole for his 6th point.
What they want to do with Mutombo is take him out of the lane. You see no Dikembe in this play. Malone with great body and control of the position, just flips up a short hook, and now you have a chance for a 3-point play.
Here comes the energizer for Denver, Robert Pack for Abdul Rauf. Pack, who likes to go full speed, tremendous leaping power. He causes a lot of terrific things to happen, but he also is a victim of more than his share of turnovers.
Control is the real critical element of Robert Pack's game, and when he plays under control, we get miracle performances like we did when they played Seattle, and when you don't, you get a lot of mistakes, and this will have to go to someone else.
Reggie Williams on the fly. Jay Humphreys for Utah, 19-16 for the Jazz. Utah, the toughest team in the league to steal the ball from during the course of the year, and they were second toughest in terms of turnovers, so they protected well. And Tyrone Corbin, they're going to have to give him a saliva test.
What they're going to have to do is guard him. He has had 6 straight wide open jump shots, knocked them all down, not a man in sight. They want a 20-second timeout, and I'm sure Dan Issel is saying, guys, get the message. He's red hot. He hasn't missed one yet.
Well, Corbin didn't shoot that way in games 1 or 2 as Utah won in Salt Lake City. It was Karl Malone with 25 in game 1. Jazz guilty of turning it over, and the Denver Nuggets were, and the Jazz won by 9. They won by 10 in game 2. Malone was absolutely sensational after the first quarter, making 14 out of 17 shots. And the Nuggets just couldn't get it done in the 4th period. 21-16 the score. Utah leads it. 3:44 left in this opening quarter.
Find a way. They're trying to get LaPhonso Ellis involved in the game at the offensive end. He had a good play. He passed up a scoring chance.
Robert Mack's first shot not close, and Karl Malone pulls down a rebound. Malone in the top 10 in scoring and rebounding. One of only 3 in the league this year. Jack O'Neal and Hakeem Olajuwon there. Jeff Hornacek playing with a very sore right thumb. Hits his first jumper. And it's the biggest lead for the Jazz. 7-0 run for Utah.
But the Jazz are playing their game and controlling the pace of the game. That's why they're on top of the scoreboard. Steal Hornacek.
From the blind side, Hornacek takes it the distance and is fouled. Reggie Williams got him for his first foul, and with that a timeout. 2:50 remaining, opening quarter, and the Utah Jazz and Ty Corbin have silenced this. In the playoffs, Jerry Sloan's Jazz, they lost the first game at San Antonio and then have run off 5 consecutive victories. And Snapper, yesterday you still said to Sloan, hey, you don't look happy.
Yeah, I've been accused of that all my life. Not looking happy. I guess I have one of those sorry faces. It's the only thing I can say. Well, obviously playing against this team they're a very good basketball team, and they're getting better every time you play against them, and they've gotten better since the last time we played them here during the regular season, and they present a tremendous amount of problems for you. So I don't think you have any reason to be happy unless you win the series.
And they're up 2-0 and lead 24-16 on that first free throw by Jeff Hornacek. Should have mannerism of wiping the right side of his face with his hand. We asked him if that helped the shooting. He says, no, that's the secret message to say hello to my kids at home. So a 9-0 run for Utah.
Dan Issel brought Williams in the game, Brian Williams, and we'll see how he performs. He was so good a week ago and has been very good on the offensive glass for the Denver Nuggets.
Foul on Karl Malone with the body, says Daryl Gerritsen.
Karl Malone has a smile and saying, well, if you're going to call these kinds of fouls, then we can't play inside. Bodies touch. As a matter of fact, we have collision. We'll find out whether they stay with those kinds of contact calls the entire game.
Mailman pulls down his 3rd rebound of this quarter. 9-point Utah lead.
They're on a 9-0 run, and the reason for it is they've been able to do what they've wanted to do out on the floor at the offensive end. The Nuggets, who normally force their opponents to shoot the ball very poorly, are seeing the Jazz shoot 65% here in the first quarter.
And Jeff Hornacek on the second chance for Utah, and 11 straight points now for the Jazz.
This is not the kind of start that the Nuggets wanted to have, but there's plenty of time for them to get back in the game. They've got to come up with an offensive rhythm that allows them to hurt Utah, and they haven't had it yet.
Brian Williams, who has been the top producer in terms of field goal percentage in the playoffs, shooting well over 60%. Most of those from close in, as was that one. Finally ends the drought. That helps the crowd to become involved. And the foul against Robert Pack. No, it's going to go the other way. Jay Humphreys.
Humphreys pushed off in trying to get by an aggressive defense by Robert Pack. Mahmoud back in the ball game. Reggie Williams sits down, so they get smaller in the backcourt, and they go with their big front line of Mutombo, Ellis, and Brian Williams.
Williams against Karl Malone. Triple team. Abdul Rauf had to hang. Brian Williams gets it, and the second chance. And they beat the 24 seconds and get the foul. On Spencer, his second.
Jerry Sloan would like to keep Felton Spencer out on the floor. He has been a very good offensive rebounder for them and an outlet for anybody that thinks that Karl Malone is the only guy that score around the basket. And John Stockton has found him real close. That means Tom Chambers, and you hear his song, it's Booze, coming in to the ball game for Felton Spencer.
Brian Williams, his father, famous singer with the Platters, sang the national anthem before the game today. And here's Chambers introduced. You'll recall at the end of game 2, Chambers knocking Dikembe Mutombo to the floor. A flagrant foul was called, and earlier this year he leveled LaPhonso Ellis with an elbow. Not going to win any votes here in the Mile High City. Brian Williams missing both free throws. 9-point advantage for Utah. Humphreys and Pack. Jay Humphreys. Rebound Brian Williams. We had 19 in the victory a week ago. The deciding game 5 in Seattle. It was a Denver playoff record. LaPhonso Ellis. Mutombo. And a foul on Chambers.
Ellis still struggling against the defense of Utah to get a ball to go in, but Mutombo with a big effort off the glass and then smacked right in the forehead by Tom Chambers. But with authority, Mutombo now at the free throw line, and this has been his real nightmare. If he could dream up something, it ought to be how to make a free throw. 50%, 54% on the season.
He gets the roll, a three-point play. Utah lead is cut to 6. Final seconds of the opening quarter. John Stockton back in for Utah.
Malone and Stockton making communication as to which way to go. They set it up as Malone as a decoy.
Gordon way off on that one. Back. Out of control a bit, and that's part of the excitement of this young guy, that he can really fly, but sometimes difficult to handle the ball. He was looking for the dunk.
He was looking to make something happen against the clock and the defense of John Stockton.
Corbin to Chambers. Time. And now the end of the quarter. Chambers couldn't control the pass. Had enough time to put it up for an easy 2. And the end of a quarter that featured the brilliant outside shooting of Ty Corbin. 6 out of 7 didn't miss till the final seconds. And the Utah Jazz, looking for a 3-0 lead in this series, have a 6-point advantage at the break.
Welcome back to McNichols Arena. Hannah Storm, the Nuggets, the hometown team, trailing by 6. This is what they're talking about in their huddle. Playing with intensity. They came out flat. The coaches feel just like they did in game 1. They're upset with the guys because they said they're not rotating on defense, and they're leaving Utah shooters wide open. You saw the damage that Tyrone Corbin did in the first quarter. Dick?
All right, thank you, Hannah. Dan Issel. You played against Issel. What was his strength as a player?
Ty Corbin shooting the ball. Dan Issel liked to play outside in, had that jump shot, and then one move where he fake up, take it to the basket. Jay Humphrey strong to the hoop.
Rebound by LaPhonso Ellis, who averaged around 9, and is off the knee of Abdul Rauf as he and Robert Pack in the same time zone. 5 turnovers now by Denver, only 1 for Utah.
They're looking for a chance to run, and they've got to have some communication between the guards. One of them should be out filling the lane, and that didn't happen on that possession.
Stockton hiding behind that big body of Karl Malone and then gives it out to the mailman. That's where he hurt Denver in game 2 from outside. And hits again, 9 points for Malone.
Malone has improved as a perimeter player and can even make three-point shots. So if you're going to see Karl Malone shoot, you'd rather see him shooting two-point field goals in deep rather than inside.
LaPhonso Ellis. And a shot that would remind you of a couple of tough ones against Seattle last Saturday. His first points today, however. Stockton right back to Malone. He seems to know where Karl's every move. Humphries knocked out of bounds off Utah. Robert Pack exchanging suggestions with Abdul Rauf as they come into the offensive end.
They want to go to Ellis against David Benoit.
Here it is. And Stockton with a run. Robert Pack. LaPhonso Ellis. Beautiful fake, but he can't hit the shot. Brian Williams misses the tip. Malone to Jay Humphries with Stockton breaking down court. Benoit, who had some big plays in the Jazz victory game 2. This is his first attempt and out of bounds to Denver.
David Benoit has been a big boost for Jerry Sloan off the bench. He's had a lot of putbacks and good defensive play. Really hasn't found his total offensive game. He's a guy that can shoot as deep as the three-point line and take the ball in a slashing fashion off the dribble. But so far, he hasn't had it in this playoff series.
Both teams cooling down since their hot start. Robert Pack for 3. Over the top to Utah. And here comes Rodney Rogers, the rookie from Wake Forest. And he's the man who had 3 trays in 9 seconds against Utah in a game earlier this year. But first, a commercial timeout with 9:47 left in the first half, and the Jazz up by 6.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by the people at Nike, who encourage you to just do it. By MCI, the company that brings you proof positive. And by Chevrolet. One car company has won more NASCAR races over the last 10 years. Genuine Chevrolet.
Welcome back to Denver. Dan Issel, his first year a season ago. His team improved by 12 games. They improved another 6 games this year to get into the playoffs. We ask him, how do you apply your Kentucky wisdom to NBA coaching?
The one thing I probably realize now, Steve, is that this isn't a long-term job anymore. I mean, your popularity rises and falls very quickly. I said it during the season. You know, when you win, you're a genius, and when you lose, you're an idiot. I know I'm not a genius, and I don't think I'm an idiot. I think the kids deserve all of the credit for what we've been able to accomplish here.
The kids, as he calls this very young team. Tom Chambers doesn't get his first shot. John Stockton gets knocked down, and here comes Abdul Rauf. 29-23, Utah leads it. 9 minutes plus remain first half. A must-win for the Nuggets. And a hold by Jay Humphries as Pack was getting away. Second foul on Humphries, who sold popcorn and soda pop at the LA Forum growing up near the Lakers' home base. Inglewood, California, now makes his home here in the Denver area. 20 minutes drive to work today, in fact, he told us.
Here's a guy they'd like to see really come to life from the outside. And earlier in the warm-ups, he was deadly from there, but game, it's been a different situation. 34% so far against the Jazz.
Stockton took a look at Mutombo, who didn't make any move at all, but John had to respect that blocking prowess. Missed the shot. He's 0 for 4 from the floor.
Coming back, he said to his teammates, my fault, but you saw him look away and then take one more look at Mutombo and miss the spot on the glass. And so the Denver Nuggets, they dodged one that time. Mutombo's presence just intimidating.
Karl Malone picks up his second foul at the other end. Malone goes out. Working on Tom Chambers, and that'll be a travel. Harold Garrettson saw the move before the dribble. Stockton to Chambers. Tom Chambers' first points. Man who was the go-to, the star player for so many years in his career. Migrating from Phoenix up here to his college site, Salt Lake City. Mutombo staggering in for that stuff.
He is the only guy that jams in sections. And you never know whether the top portion is ever going to finally get there, but he hangs on.
The decent blind approach. John Stockton has his first field goal, and it's 33-25 Utah with 8 to go in the half.
One of the reasons that Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf cannot get free, they're not setting good screens for him, so they're not really picking his man. He's coming around trying to make a play. They get a foul against Tom Chambers, and he's having to try to shoot the ball under pressure, and it's real tough for him.
Chambers, who can hand it out, but he can take it as well.
You'll see Mutombo slam, and you can see it doesn't look like he's quite going to get there. That's a tiptoe jam.
At 7-2, you can do that. Here's Pack at 6-2. He gets it to the mountain. Heavy traffic. Drops down. Funny, I never could make a shot like that. 6-point game. Stockton throws it away. That's a rare turnover from the steady playmaker of the Jazz.
Unhappy with that, but there was miscommunication between Stockton and Humphries. He thought Humphries was going to that spot. He let him, went right to Dan Issel instead.
Brian Williams can't hit the easy bank. Stockton hurries it to the other end. Tom Chambers. Rebound Mutombo, can't control it. Felton Spencer gets it to Benoit. In this series, Denver guilty of relinquishing the ball when it seems they had control of it. That was an
Robert Pack just exploded into the back of John Stockton to pick up that personal foul as we go to a break.
Dikembe Mutombo. Oh, that one was the line drive. 11 points to lead the Nuggets. 6-point game. A reminder, fans, tomorrow the feast continues. Another exciting triple-header of NBA playoff action here on NBC. Tips off promptly at 1 o'clock Eastern, 10 a.m. West Coast time. First, the Atlanta Hawks trying to get to even the series after losing today handily to Atlanta. Game 4, their semifinal. Then the revitalized Houston Rockets against Phoenix. Game 4, their series. How about Houston last night? And to top off the day, what will be the attitude of the defending world champion Chicago Bulls as they host their keenest rivals, the New York Knicks? It all comes to you on NBC tomorrow. 3 big ones. Jeff Hornacek in and Jay Humphries out.
With this lineup out on the floor, Stockton has to become more of an offensive-minded player, as well as Jeff Hornacek. Benoit
rattles out, and Mutombo has his 4th rebound. Abdul-Rauf and Stockton, who guards him both 1 for 5 from the floor. 6 minutes to go in the second quarter. 6-point lead, Utah.
Coming inside to Rodney Rogers against Benoit. They've been trying to take advantage of this mismatch, either with Ellis or Rogers. Still hasn't finished.
Mutombo had it taken away from the blind side. Hornacek, that's twice he's done it. Hornacek for three. Ellis had to fight Stith, his teammate, for the ball. Ellis from outside. Benoit. A lot of shots that are short.
That has been the problem for the Nuggets, in that they have not been able to make that medium-range jump shot, and it's hurt them. Utah has then been able to come back and find a way to score. Good block by Mahmoud.
Stockton controls, however. Hornacek loses it for a moment, almost threw it in blindly. Ellis ahead to Abdul-Rauf with Stith down court, but 2 against 4. Oh, he takes a bad shot there. No numbers, and it's saved by Rogers to Stith. Ellis and Mutombo were still in the back court during that entire sequence.
They're telling them how much time is on the shot clock, and they end up out of it, fortunately, with an illegal defense. So they didn't know that there were only 7 seconds left on the clock. They're getting an illegal D and a chance to at least get a point on the board.
And a new 24. Abdul-Rauf, who has not missed a free throw in the playoffs, 19 for 19, missed only 10 all season, by far the best free throw shooter in the league, and nearly set an all-time record. 20 in a row now in the playoffs for Mahmoud.
He's been their leading scorer on the season, and they got to find a way to see some sort of offensive explosion come from his hand. And so far this afternoon, he has really struggled. Technical foul.
Abdul-Rauf and John Stockton with a push and shove, and this one will go against Mahmoud.
They're right here trying to set up for the inbound play, and they're pushing and shoving, and out of that.
Wow, that's a... They are calling them tight. That seemed to be a rather, compared to what we've seen throughout the course of the playoffs, a rather minor piece of contact. So the technical fouls balance out, and that'll be Denver's ball at the other end as Reggie Williams back in to trigger it into play.
This has been intense, but it has not been an unfriendly contest between these two teams. So it's kind of odd that the officials would be calling it that closely when there really haven't been any kind of altercations or near altercations. Get my dude all over, all over.
With 8 on the clock. Pick from Spencer. Runner over Mutombo. Well done by Hornacek, who had really sent it into the stratosphere to get it over the big guy.
Hornacek is one of the best in the league at shooting those runners, and he has plenty of time to judge.
Mutombo at the other end. He has 13 points, averaging a dozen a game in the playoffs.
Finisher thought he had plenty of time to judge how he wanted to lock that ball to get it over Mutombo.
Stockton down the bottom of the well. He has 4 points. Under 4 to go before the intermission. Bob Costas will have all the information on that Bulls-Knicks fracas last night. Suspensions and fines at all. Mutombo, the second chance, and he's fouled. So a big first half for the big man for Denver.
You've got to have offensive rebounding if you're going to miss shots, and Mutombo is there before everyone else, and Felton Spencer has not been able to really get a good position. Personal foul.
Ty Corbin actually gets ticketed with a foul. 15 points now for Mutombo and 5 rebounds.
Mutombo is keeping his team close. The rest of the Denver Nuggets are struggling at the offensive end, and Mutombo has loaded them up on his back to keep it a 5-6 point game.
Stockton to Spencer, blocked by Mutombo, and a foul. It was on Brian Stith. Mutombo got the block, but Stith had his hand in there as well. Made contact.
In games 1 and 2, Stith has gotten himself in foul trouble early, and Dan Issel has not been able to really maximize his all-around floor game. Like to see him stay out on the floor. That is his first personal foul this afternoon.
He's the guy that they're looking for that 15, 17-foot jumper on the wings. Spencer, like Mutombo, not a good free throw shooter, but both big men on target in this first half. 40-33, the Jazz. Nuggets really haven't had that scoring run. Utah did 11-0 in the first quarter. Mutombo! Slippery. The big guy sneaking his way in. 18 points. 7 for 8 shooting for Dikembe Mutombo. Stockton, great presence there. Slips, maintains the dribble, and can't hit the shot. Mutombo hauls in another. 6 rebounds. Reggie Williams sets up for 3. That's got them on their feet. 40-38. Who else? Ty Corbin. He's the one that got the Utah Jazz off on the right foot today.
And they give Corbin a 3 on that shot, so they answer the 3 and push the lead back to 5. And they want to come back inside to Mutombo. He is the guy that's getting it done for them in a half-court set against Felton Spencer. We'll see if he can do it one more time.
Troubles continue. Felton Spencer looks the rebound. Karl Malone with the fadeaway. And it'll be on Corbin reaching around Brian Stiff, his second foul. Timeout, 1:31 to go before the end of the half. Dikembe Mutombo.
Mutombo showing a lot of different ways to score. Surprise Felton Spencer coming underneath.
Bob Costas in New York. The NBA has announced the fines and suspensions in the wake of this fight last night in Chicago. JoJo English of the Bulls gets into it with Derek Harper of the Knicks. Harper throws the punch. Then he takes English down. They wind up nearly in the stands, both benches empty. A particularly ugly incident, even by the recent standards of the NBA, where fights are becoming all too commonplace. And this one was witnessed by Commissioner David Stern, who was courtside at Chicago Stadium. So the league is obviously intent on sending a message in this atmosphere of ever-increasing violence in the NBA. English was suspended for 1 game. He'll miss tomorrow's Game 4, and he was fined $10,000. But listen to this. Harper, who threw the punch and then dragged English toward the stands, draws a 2-game suspension plus a $15,000 fine. 15 other players were fined $2,500 apiece for leaving the bench. The Knicks will miss Harper, a key player for them, obviously much more than Chicago will miss English, a little-used reserve. Back to Dick Enberg in Denver.
All right, Bob, and the commissioner and Rod Thorne, who is responsible for reviewing tapes and recommending those fines. He's the vice president of basketball operations to the right of Stern. Fortunately, this game has been played with subtlety and skill and quickness and accuracy. Boy, that basketball brawl image is not one the commissioner enjoys. And, what do? You've got to stop the taunting. That's number one.
That's the number one thing. He's been trying to bring the fighting under control since he started as commissioner of the NBA, and he's always stated there's no place for it in the game. And, you know, you're not going to take the emotion out of the game totally, but the taunting is one of the things that creates the spark that really gets those kind of situations started.
43-40. Denver trailing by as much as 11 in the first quarter. Karl Malone left alone, way short. Stiff with the rebound. As we approach the final minute of the half. Reggie Williams. 43-42, the Utah lead. Williams with 10.
That's the other side of the equation that the Nuggets need. Someone that can make the shot, and they've got back-to-back perimeter shots to go in for Reggie Williams.
Hornacek in a big crowd. Corbin got the rebound. rebound, couldn't score. Dikembe Mutombo. 40 seconds left. Williams for three. And it's off Corbin to Denver with 32 seconds left in the half.
Reggie Williams trying to repeat his 30-point performance against Seattle that was so crucial for them in Game 3 here this afternoon. Daryl Garrison down.
Crew chief took a hit.
Dan Issel right over to check on him. You can see right there he ran into the mailman, and the pain. He's got a bad leg to begin with. Very gimpy, but he's going to try to stay with it.
Took a crack back block, and he's going to stay in with 32 seconds to go. There is a standby official if needed, but Garrison, the veteran, wants to stay with it. Abdul Rauf. He needs one. He gets one. And the Nuggets lead for the first time since 6 minutes gone in the game. Spencer gets the rebound and drops it home with a foul against Mutombo. Dalton Spencer. What a fine addition he has been for this Utah team.
That has been the plus that Spencer has brought to the Utah Jazz. Being around the offensive glass and then putting it back in. LaPhonso Ellis, reaction not good. Should not have made that play.
Second foul on him. Air ball from Spencer. So with 5.5 seconds left, Denver down by 2 will get a final shot.
5.4 seconds, plenty of time to get it up and down.
Abdul Rauf takes the three. Stiff. Great effort by Stith with a rebound and shot while still in midair. And so ends an entertaining first half. Dikembe Mutombo, the Mountain, keeping Denver close. 46, make it 45-44 at the break.
So what comes to mind?
This is the Prudential Halftime Report, brought to you by the Prudential. Peace of mind. It comes with every piece of the rock.
Well, the Jazz led by as many as 11, but at halftime, the lead is trimmed to 1 at 45-44. Karl Malone, 9 points and 6 rebounds for Utah. Ty Corbin, their high man in the first half with 15. Big first half for the Nuggets. Dikembe Mutombo, 8 of 9 from the floor, 18 points and 7 rebounds. Bob Costas back in New York, joined shortly by Peter Vesey. In the early Eastern Conference game today, the Indiana Pacers took a 2-1 lead over the Atlanta Hawks with a 101-81 victory. Rick Smits led the Pacers with 27. Game 4 is tomorrow here on NBC. The other Eastern Conference series resumes tomorrow as well, the Bulls and the Knicks. Obviously, the big story for the Bulls last night was Scottie Pippen's refusal to take the floor for the final 1.8 seconds. Tony Kukoc hit the game winner with Pippen on the bench. For more, let's go to Bulls practice and Marianne Grabavoy.
Thanks, Bob. In a team meeting that lasted about an hour and a half, the Chicago Bulls watched game tape, but they didn't discuss the Scottie Pippen standoff with coach Phil Jackson that happened at the end of last night's game. After a short practice, Phil Jackson didn't want to talk about the incident. He didn't want to fan the flames. Instead, he seemed to be on a major peacekeeping mission.
What we did as a basketball team,
The mic is not on.
off the court last night, was try and heal some wounds and to get together as a basketball club again and do the things that we've always done well as champions.
What about team unity going into Game 4?
Well, I think we're going to be able to regroup. You know, we realize we've had 3 games, 4-quarter jinx, so we got to come out and play a lot better. You know, we can't take back anything from yesterday's game, but we can definitely play better.
Where do you and Phil Jackson go from here? Where do you and Phil Jackson go from here?
To Game 4.
I know it's your job to expose and to make us all look human and naked. But we're not going to do that to our team or to any individual on our team because we supported each other in the past and we're still going to do that.
Without question, the Bulls have closed ranks in an effort to concentrate on Game 4. Bob, back to you.
All right, Marianne, and reiterating the fines just announced by the NBA, Derek Harper gone for 2 games. JoJo English separated for 1 after their fight last night, actually suspended for 1, in a sense separated from his club for 1 after their fight last night in Chicago. Up next, we'll have the story of the Nuggets' Reggie and Brian Williams. Peter Vesey joins me for that after a message from Prudential and a word from the NBA. Utah over Denver at the half, 45-44. 2 of the big reasons the Nuggets were able to upset Seattle in the first round was the play of Reggie and Brian Williams. Each is a bit of an NBA reclamation project, and Peter Vesey has their rather unusual stories. Here it is.
What one doesn't understand, one is afraid of.
You know, I had it rough early in my career, but I didn't blame anyone.
The fact that basketball wasn't going as great as I had planned, it did have an effect on it.
They wanted me to be the savior.
Brian and Reggie Williams were both high draft picks. Both flaunted expectations of greatness. Reggie started his career as the 4th overall pick by the Los Angeles Clippers, where his downward spiral began.
I didn't have a shot, and when it didn't work, you know, then they said, you know, I was a bad player. You know, and I wasn't a bad player. You know, I just was a player, you know, was on the rough.
So now you're traded to the Cavaliers in the Danny Ferry trade. And what happened in Cleveland?
I thought I was put in the hot seat. You know, Lenny wanted Ron Harper there, and he got traded. So I felt I was a scapegoat. I never felt comfortable in Cleveland. You know, I was depressed. You know, after every practice, I used to go home and just sit in the room. You know, my wife always saying, "Reggie, what's wrong? You know, you got to, get up and do something." And I just would sit there because I was depressed.
Brian Williams knows all too much about depression. He was Orlando's lottery pick the year before Shaq. Last season, severe depression led Brian to a suicide attempt.
I think it was something that was definitely between basketball, my life at that time, and really understanding a lot about myself. I think it was all part of growing up. It was a part of falling down, picking yourself back up.
I remember being on a show with Pat Williams and telling Pat, you've got your power forward. You don't have to go and get somebody else. And the next thing I know, you're traded to the Nuggets. Did that surprise you after how well you did that summer?
It surprised me because I really wanted to, work on my game, work on coming back and being, a power forward in the league. I mean, the thing about it, they invested the time and energy last year when it was bleak, at least let them reap some of the benefits of this year when things are going great.
The Nuggets believe in second chances. Brian Williams has rediscovered himself in Denver. Reggie Williams, who was waived by 2 teams, is now the Nuggets court leader and team captain.
I basically felt that Brian and Reggie were good people, and that's something that's fundamental in this thing. Now, we make mistakes, but you can always clean up your mistake when you give a person an opportunity and he understands that, okay, this is your opportunity and probably your last chance.
I knew I would get a chance, and once I got that chance, I knew I still had the ability to play basketball. I knew all the time, through the bad times, that I could play. I just needed that opportunity.
I want to put it all behind me. It's almost like Brian Williams, depressive. And it really doesn't associate with me anymore, and I want to bury it. Maybe I can do it now. There's a hatchet around here.
Brian, you should really be smiling more. I mean, as talented as you are, as young as you are, as much as you've got going for you, I mean, this is the best right now.
It really is. The other day when we were playing Seattle, before the game I said, let's remember Villanova and Georgetown. No one thought. And Reggie Williams glared over at me. He was on the team at the time. I said, Reg, sorry, but I got to use it. I got to get these guys pumped up.
Before we went on camera there, Brian was in the Marriott business office closing the deal on his house in Orlando and closing a chapter in his life that good riddance.
Now, as for Reggie Williams, what was the problem with the Clippers and the Cavs?
Well, he went out there as a number 4 pick, and Gene Shue tried to make him into a point guard.
Number 4 in the overall draft, not the 4th round.
Exactly, first round. Try to make him into a point guard when nobody was really even sure if he was a 2 or a 3 guard. So he had so many problems trying to understand the offense, remember the plays. And then when he went to Cleveland, he had a problem because, as he said, that he wasn't Ron Harper. And he told me that they froze him out of the offense. Nobody would talk to him. Even Lenny Wilkins. I mean, he came really hard on Lenny Wilkins.
On the other hand, when somebody has a disagreement with Lenny Wilkins, you tend to be skeptical. You tend to give Lenny the benefit of the doubt, don't you?
Maybe you do, Bob. I mean, there are some players that have had some gripes with him over the years, so it's not all one way.
Well, Reggie Williams, 10 points in this first half. Brian Williams, 2 points, 3 rebounds. It's the Jazz leading by 1 in Game 3. And we'll send it back to Dick Yenberg and Steve Jones right after these messages from your local station.
This has been the Prudential Halftime Report, brought to you by the Prudential. Peace of mind. It comes with every piece of the rock.
Live from Phoenix, catch Channel 2's expanded playoff edition of Sports Sunday.
We're back at McNichols Arena. Both teams ready for the second half. Dream Lovers, 17,000 plus, and this whole city as excited as they've been since the John Elway first in '98 playoff drive against the Cleveland Browns that eventually led Denver into the Super Bowl. And it's nice to see. I think the world loves the underdog, and these Nuggets are the epitome of just that, to get this far. In fact, was it Issel said that, hey, I hope they don't think they're going to win the NBA championship, these young kids.
Well, that's what they should think. And anything is possible, and certainly they know that. And even in this ball game this afternoon, where they have not controlled the tempo, they have not really forced the turnovers, they are right there at the door, down 1 point. So Issel has to feel good about his team's ability to be resilient and respond. It'll be an interesting second half.
So let's find out what their head coach thinks. Yeah. He is with Hannah Storm.
Well, Coach is just buttoning up his lucky brown suit here and taking a minute to chat with us. The defensive intensity was not there at the beginning for your team. Is that something you focused on at halftime?
Absolutely, Hannah. I thought we were kind of enamored with being here, just like the first game we played in Seattle. But toward the end of the first half, it got better.
Now, you guys are not hitting your jumpers. Would you like to get into more of an open court game, get some easy buckets?
Well, I think we're taking good shots. They're just not going in. And as I told the guys, there's nothing you can do about that. I know they're not missing on purpose. But if we keep up with this intensity, we'll be all right second half.
Now, you got a young, emotional team here. What's their mental state right now?
We're all right. We're in good shape.
Okay, thanks, Coach. Have a good second half. Dick?
The turnovers, they are right there at the door, down 1 point. So Issel has to feel good about his team's ability to be resilient and respond. It'll be an interesting second half.
So let's find out what their head coach thinks. Yeah. He is with Hannah Storm.
Well, Coach is just buttoning up his lucky brown suit here and taking a minute to chat with us. The defensive intensity was not there at the beginning for your team. Is that something you focused on at halftime?
Absolutely, Hannah. I thought we were kind of enamored with being here, just like the first game we played in Seattle. But toward the end of the first half, it got better.
Now, you guys are not hitting your jumpers. Would you like to get into more of an open court game, get some easy buckets?
Well, I think we're taking good shots. They're just not going in. And as I told the guys, there's nothing you can do about that. I know they're not missing on purpose. But if we keep up with this intensity, we'll be all right second half.
Now, you got a young, emotional team here. What's their mental state right now?
We're all right. We're in good shape.
Okay, thanks, Coach. Have a good second half. Dick?
Get the feeling you'd like Dan Issel as your teammate. Pretty steady guy. Let's take a look at the Miller Genuine Draft halftime statistics. Shooting 44 and 43% despite Ty Corbin 7 for 9 and leading the Jazz with 15. If you take away his numbers, the Jazz are shooting only 35% on the half. Rebounding, go to the mountain for those numbers. He leads all with 7 and leads with 18 points, although the Jazz have one more rebound than the Nuggets as a team in the first 24. Utah trying to go 3-0. Denver trying to scramble back, keep the dream alive. Second half coming up. Ready for the second half. Utah leading 45-44, leading individual scores. And on the Utah side, Malone with 9. That's 20 points under his playoff average. A quiet half for the mailman.
Certainly a quiet half, but we know how explosive he can be. Denver, on the other hand, has gotten a huge first half from Mutombo, and Abdul Rauf still continues to struggle, only 6 points, and we'll find out whether he comes to life.
Same starting 5 here in the half that open the game, and that'll be goaltending against Mutombo.
Malone in game 2 did not score in the first quarter of play and finished with 32. So you know they're going to come back to him. Even if he has to shoot volume, he's going to get some numbers. They get a goaltend right out of the box on Mutombo, and now they have a foul as well.
Reggie Williams. A man who through the last several years led the league in free throw attempts until this year, David Robinson. Made more trips to the charity. 48-44.
Looking for Reggie Williams.
They find him. He's short on the shot, and Karl Malone has the rebound. His 7th. Hornacek with a quick move. Malone almost batted it home, and then basket interference is the call.
Gerald Gerritsen saw that hand. The whistle was a little late, but certainly up in the cylinder. A soft shot, and Malone thinking, I got to steal that.
Had his hand against the rim as he made contact with the ball.
Jerry Sloan has given Felton Spencer some instructions, try to ride Dikembe Mutombo out. Mutombo was able to squeeze in. He thought he got fouled.
Malone grabs the rebound. And a foul. LaPhonso Ellis would be his 3rd foul, the first with 3.
Ellis has not really been able to be a factor in any of the games the way that the Nuggets would like him to be, and here at home especially. He'd really like to be making some things happen. And staying in foul trouble is not going to help that. Nice shot, Hornacek.
50-44 as Hornacek, the former 76er, former son, has 11. Bryant stiff. And just as they started the game, the Nuggets cold open the second.
And the aggressive team has been the Utah Jazz, and they've been pushing, and they get it inside. Dan Issel very quickly wants to stop the game and talk about it.
So the Utah Jazz come out of firing, and the Nuggets are cold.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by cold-filtered Miller Genuine Draft. Get out of the old, get into the cold. By Pennzoil, the motor oil you can rely on for performance, protection, and quality. And by Nissan, it's time to expect more from a car.
Welcome back to McNichols Arena. Hannah Storm, along with the NBA Vice President of Basketball Operations, Rod Thorne. You just handed out a tough penalty on Derek Harper of the New York Knicks. 2 games. Usually it's a 1-game suspension for fighting. Why the stiff suspension?
Well, I think when an altercation spills over into the stands that you're talking about another level. And in this case, our feeling was that Harper was the more culpable of the 2 players. He threw a punch that landed. He body slammed English into the floor, off the floor into the stands, and you're just talking about a different level.
Rod, obviously these players aren't thinking. They know the implications of their actions, but you've got some key players missing huge games for their teams because of fighting. Are the penalties stiff enough, and will you reassess in the offseason?
Well, I think when you're talking about players missing playoff games in 3 out of 5 series or 4 out of 7 series, I think you're talking about a very, very stiff penalty. And I think players do understand that.
But then you don't anticipate any change in league policy?
Well, we won't have any change right now, but maybe next year we'll make it even more stringent.
Okay, thanks, Rod. Let's get back to the game and Dick.
Yeah, they're going to have to make it as tough as it can get in order for the players to really listen. And a foul at this end goes against Felton Spencer, his 3rd. And that's Karl Malone. You don't often see him slow getting up.
He ripped the ball away from Dikembe Mutombo. They had him tied up a couple of times, Mutombo inside trying to fight his way through and come underneath. Corbin had him once. The ball pops right out, and then Malone and Felton Spencer get in there.
That was like a series of handoffs and a quadruple reverse. Everybody handing off to the next, and finally Spencer gets the foul.
Brian Williams has come in the game replacing LaPhonso Ellis, and they want to try to get some inside scoring with Brian Williams, and we'll find out whether he's able to be a factor. And so far, Mahmoud has not been able to find it from the outside.
2 for 10. Stockton fighting off Abdul Rauf, and then up the lane he goes and gets the roll. It's a 9-0 run at the top of this second half for Utah. A 1-point game at the intermission has grown to a 10-point Jazz lead.
And again, it's because the ball game is being played at Jazz pace and terms. A half-court game where execution is of a premium, and the young Nuggets haven't had that so far, and they haven't been able to get a shot to go in.
Mutombo kept it alive. Abdul Rauf finally from inside. It took almost 3 minutes for the Nuggets to score in the second half.
The good thing for the Nuggets is they're only down 8 points, and there's 9 minutes to play in the quarter, and another 12 after that as Felton Spencer scores, so there's plenty of time for them to get back in the game and try to get control of the tempo.
Felton Spencer trying to dog Dikembe Mutombo on defense, and on the other end has picked up 8 points for the Jazz. Abdul Rauf, he gets the lay-in, and that awakens him. Something like Mad Max. Herman Maxwell last night. He got a few of those lay-ins, and suddenly he just couldn't miss. What a performance in the second half for Maxwell of Houston, and the Rockets win game 3. Malone mails it from outside. He has 14.
Again, they're going to use Mutombo to try to set things up. You see, they don't have anybody cutting to the basket, and that plays into what the Jazz want them to do. Good rebound stiff.
Brian Williams kept it alive, slapped away by Corbin. Williams controls, can't score. Mutombo has it ripped away. Karl Malone, such quick hands, and he plays the ball when it's down around waist high. He's looking for it there. 10-point lead for the Jazz. Malone again from outside. Reggie Williams on the run. 4-on-2. Brian Williams, and Hornacek draws the foul, charging against Williams. His first.
Offensive rebound. Dikembe Mutombo has been there, but he quick hands of Karl Malone. He just snatched that away. Mutombo cannot believe it. The reaction from Dan Issel. Not a happy coach so far this afternoon. Brown suit, no magic.
That's the 8-all rough Kentucky Brown that served the Baron in his great seasons and legendary years at the University of Kentucky when he coached Dan Issel and so many All-Americas, including Pat Riley. Stockton.
The difference in the team has been execution and the ability to set screens and free up a man. We've seen it with the Utah Jazz. We have not seen it with the Nuggets so far. They are down 12.
Biggest lead of the game for the Jazz, as they've totally outplayed the Nuggets to open this second half. Robert Pack draws the 4th foul on Felton Spencer. That's a critical call for Utah. And Tom Chambers quickly off the bench for the Jazz as Spencer will sit down with 4. At the line, Robert Pack has not scored in the game.
Pack and the Nuggets are going to have to find a way to increase the pace of this game. They are not going to beat the Utah Jazz in a half-court set.
Pack in the regular season playing less than he has in the playoffs, and as it would figure a few more points for Robert Pack, whose points to turnover ratio is about 1.5. Muggsy Bogues, league leader, on 4.5 assists to turnover, And that's where Pack has his problems. Assist to turnover.
And this is the first 2 points of the ball game for Robert Pack, who was so good a week ago.
And Jeff Hornacek in that backcourt of Utah. Stockton and Hornacek tough in this third quarter. Pack rolls off the brace of the rim, and Malone has it. Oh, what a collision, and Brian Williams gets the foul. His second.
Robert Pack went in for the throwdown when he could have laid it off the glass. He missed, and out of it, which has been a problem for the Nuggets. Whenever they've seen a ball loose, they've chased it, whether they're under control or not. The collision goes against Brian Williams. Karl Malone and the Jazz walk it up.
Gary Malone and NBA Showtime. If the Jazz should win a championship this year, he's out. He's closing the post office. He wants to retire, go fishing, go up to Alaska. Whoa, Tyrone Corbin.
See, that's what happens when a guy who's been in a slump suddenly gets out of it. He is looking to score from all angles, and he has made it happen this afternoon.
19 points for Corbin.
Going without the basketball, and then just a catch and throw it off the glass. And Corbin says, I got it today. Hey, coach, leg me in.
Corbin, who used to, as a kid in high school in South Carolina, of course, he was a high school teammate of the X-Man, Xavier McDaniel, and he drove the high school bus. He'd get up early while a senior in high school and drove the school bus to help pick up some pocket money. Was the last signee by DePaul. They happen to have one left over at the end of recruiting. Nobody really wanted him. Everyone saw Xavier, and no one looked at Ty Corbin. He was a great player at DePaul.
How big is today's game? In the first two games, 18 points total. Today, 19, and more to come.
64-50, the biggest lead, and a reminder tomorrow, a triple header. Hope you'll join us here on NBC beginning at 12:30 Eastern Time. Atlanta, Indiana, followed by Houston and Phoenix, with Houston winning last night, and then the Knicks and the Bulls. It's a bizarre series. Everything that one would not expect seems to be happening. And, how about the Scottie Pippen? The S word hasn't been used. We used to call that selfish.
Well, Scottie Pippen was very selfish in that situation. Again, you got to think about the team and winning the game. Mutombo with a tough try inside.
20 points for Dikembe Mutombo. One more than Ty Corbin of the Utah Jazz, but it's the Jazz with the ball, and a 12-point lead as Stockton open.
And they are doing a good job of executing and getting people free and nailing the shot, and they are taking care of the ball. The Nuggets need some turnovers. They need to change the tempo of the game.
10 for 11 shooting for Utah. Stockton out of the pack to Malone. And Malone wanted a foul as well. Biggest lead of the game for the Jazz. 16 points. They've blown it open in the third quarter. What a run. Almost perfect shooting for Utah, missing only one shot in this quarter.
You like clever feeds, and even though they were draped all over Karl Malone, he delivered once again.
Making 11 out of 12.
Everything that the Utah Jazz revolves around this guy right here, Karl Malone. And he's going to get an exchange with the screen right here. We let it clear with Tyrone Corbin. And you'll see the first screen comes in. Now stop it again right there, and you'll see here's another one. And this is going to free up John Stockton right in there for that easy, clean jump shot, which has them shooting red hot.
Utah, an impeccable third quarter, making 11 out of 12 shots to blow a 45-45 halftime game into a 16-point advantage.
Over the next 4:54, what the Denver Nuggets want to do is cut this lead to single digits. They want to get somewhere back to a 6 to 8 point ball game. Good passing that time. They break down the defense, and they'll get LaPhonso Ellis on the line.
Karl Malone's third foul.
Penetration, and Malone trying to go with the quick hands. Had it once, came back, got caught.
Ellis with only 2 points in the game. 1 for 6 from the floor.
Ellis, like all big men, have to rely on the little men to get him the ball. And that has not been the story this afternoon. He hasn't gotten a lot of chances to score, and that's one of the reasons his numbers are down.
Only 10 points scored by the Nuggets here in the third quarter. 4:40 to go. Here's that pick by Malone. He levels Abdul Rauf, and there's Stockton to nail the 17-footer.
Yeah, that's 265 going against 147. Mahmoud is not going to win.
John Stockton, a perfect 4-for-4 shooting here in the quarter. LaPhonso Ellis, a little shorter tie. Corbin scores, and a foul.
Finally getting LaPhonso Ellis the ball down on the blocks, and he's able to take advantage of his size against a smaller Ty Corbin. They pick up the foul. A quick adjustment right now by Jerry Sloan. David Benoit get into the game despite the fact that Corbin has it going at the offensive end.
Ellis has been in a dilemma all season long in terms of size, and whether you play the power forward or the small forward, you have to be light and quickness to play one. And whoa, there goes an elbow right into the jaw of Mutombo. Oh my! I don't know if that was Malone or Chambers, but it'll be a technical foul.
Tom Chambers on the line, and right there the elbow goes up high, and now he's trying to break free and catches another one from Karl Malone.
I think it was Malone who delivered the real telling blow, while Chambers was hooked up with Mutombo. And there's the first miss by Abdul Rauf. Watch Malone here, 32.
Yeah, he's wearing people out now.
The fans booed Chambers, who has been the focal point of their anger this season. It was Malone who got the blow. Benoit left alone over Ellis. Robert Pack. He worries it up. Abdul Rauf hits the three. 70-60. 3:50 to go, the third quarter.
It's uphill, but they have to force the Jazz to play quickly. Malone, as he did in game 2, had all of the answers, and a lot of them from the outside. 9 in the quarter.
Malone, who was very candid with us yesterday, said, "Hey, I'm not in this game to make friends. I'll do anything I can to win." Ellis misses from inside.
Had a nice move going, but didn't have quite enough to finish, and they need every one of those inside chances to go in.
Robert Pack defending Hornacek takes it away. Delivers it to Abdul Rauf. 72-62. Credit that goal to the defense of Robert Pack. Stolen by Brian Williams, and then Stockton took it right back. Boy, Stockton never quits on a play. Stockton giveth and taketh. He giveth with all the assists, leading the league 7 straight years, and he taketh away with the steals, and then he can scoreth as well.
Tomorrow, you're doing all of that tomorrow.
That's right. So well, different days for different religions.
It's 10 in a quarter for Stockton, and it's been great execution for Stockton in getting his chances to score. A nice high screen got him down the box.
Abdul Rauf wanted it. He was fouled by Stockton running under his first foul.
You can see Robert Pack just jumps in there. He saw a chance to get to the ball and was able to control himself and then get it out. This got the crowd thinking the Nuggets are about to mount a charge, but John Stockton shut it down. He picked up the foul on a three-point attempt by Mahmoud, who will go to the line.
We asked Mahmoud yesterday to give us some tips on how to shoot free throws, since you're far and away the best. If we have a chance, we'll share those with you. Oh my goodness, that's news for him to miss 2 in a row when he missed only 10 all season out of 229 attempts. And even he's laughing at himself.
He just said, what is going on here?
74-63 Utah. 2:16 left in the third quarter. a foul on Abdul Rauf, his first. Abdul Rauf out. Brian Stiff back in.
Humphreys and Hornacek in the backcourt, so the ball handling is not quite as good as it would be with John Stockton out on the floor and a very aggressive Robert Pack just bodying Humphreys away from the ball.
Stockton probably sitting out the rest of this quarter with 2 minutes plus to go, and then the break between the third and fourth periods. Karl Malone blocked by Mutombo from a tough angle, his fourth. Robert Pack. Good defense by Utah. They hustled back. Chambers on Mutombo. And they knock it out of bounds. Utah with 12 on the clock.
One of the things that would help Mutombo score is to try to get into his move just a little bit quicker. He takes a lot of time when the defense can come and give help. He's seen the ball knocked out of his hands quite a few times. Shot clock at 7.
Pack with a twisting move and scores. Boy, he earned that one. That gets it down to a single-digit deficit, 9 points. The lead for Utah. And a foul underneath on Mutombo, who threw his shoulder, his third.
Running the same play for John Stockton is Jay Humphreys. They come up high for the screen, and then the little pop right there with the forearm. Mutombo got caught. Can't believe it.
Let's check. Mutombo apparently only 1 foul. He'll be arrested the rest of the quarter. Jay Humphreys goes to the line. Humphreys had a big game in the San Antonio series, and his number is up in the playoffs. Looking for his first point today.
That was a career-high 25, but when they really needed somebody to light them up, Humphreys was the savior in that game in Game 2.
One that the Spurs fans would just as soon be erased from all memory, where San Antonio went more than a quarter without a field goal. He misses both, but Chambers gets it back. Stolen by Stiff. Brian Williams, and boy, he did a good job not going out of bounds. Pack. Well, he is explosive. The lead cut to 7.
And when the tempo is hot, that's when the Nuggets are effective, and they're trying to generate it with their defense.
And with Stockton on the bench. Chambers left alone. Chambers with 4. Chance for 2 for 1 here for Denver. 42 seconds left in the quarter. Brian Stiff. He's fouled by Hornacek. The basket counts.
Robert Pack is the energizer for this team, and it was a quick push and a big save by Brian Williams that got Robert Pack this chance to dive down the lane, and he scored. You don't get the 3-point play from Stiff.
Plus difference between the clocks. Humphreys to Hornacek. Oh, what a shot was Stiff right in his face. Pack goes the other way. Stiff. And it just won't fall for Denver with 0.8 seconds remaining in the quarter. Foul on Jay Humphreys.
That may be the story of the afternoon. The other team on radar, and Hornacek making one of those rainbow adjustments. You think there's no way that's going to go in, and it's clean, and then they're right at the bucket and can't catch.
Stiff makes it 78-70. looking for his 10th point of the game.
But the Nuggets are in much better shape now with 0.8 of a second to really mount a charge in the final 12 minutes as Stiff gets both of them and it's a 7-point game.
They were down as much as 16 points in the quarter. At the fourth quarter break, a 7-point game. Utah leading here in Denver.
A special insider report on thigh creams, Monday at 5 and 10.
This copyrighted telecast of the National Basketball Association may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of the NBA.
Back at McNichols Arena, where the Denver Nuggets have pulled within 7 points of Utah despite hot shooting by the Jazz, 80%. Terry Sloan was not happy in the huddle. He said, look, guys, we have one more hard quarter. We've got to lay it all out there. I want you to get back on defense and rebound on both ends of the floor. Dick?
All right, Hannah, and the hot shooting came from the backcourt. Stockton 5 for 5 and Hornacek 3 for 3. That tandem 8 out of 8 from the floor in the quarter.
This post-up where Stiff has been very successful as they're coming down the stretch. He gets them off to a good start. A little roller goes in.
Well, Dan Issel had to be encouraged when you figure that the Jazz had a playoff high quarter, 16 out of 20, 80%, and still only moved up 6 points from their halftime lead of 1. Malone. Stolen. Rogers. Pack out of the blocks. And it's knocked away.
Karl Malone under some pressure of Brian Williams, and he just threw an errant pass. There was nobody really there to catch the ball. Stockton was under some pressure from Robert Pack.
Pack worked his way open, but couldn't hit the shot. Stockton going the other way. Chambers. Stockton underneath. No one picked him up.
Robert Pack is a little out of gas right now, and he was slow getting back. Stockton was looking for him the whole time, and he got a return pass. Pack was out at the top of the key.
John Stockton with 16 points.
Huge second half for Stockton at the offensive end. Here's a guy that Issel could really use at the offensive end, Rodney Rogers.
That's what the Nuggets really need, don't they, when they look ahead to the future. What's going to be a very bright future for this franchise is a point guard that can really protect the ball, set up the plays, run the offense.
And get other people's shots in areas where they're most effective, and Rodney Rogers has not really been able to get going in this ball game.
Left-handed rookie from Wake Forest.
Huge score at Wake Forest. Played only 6 minutes in that first half of play.
Abdul Rauf and Dikembe Mutombo on the bench at this point for Denver. It's 1 out of 2, his first point of the game. 6-point lead, Utah. Can McNichols Arena be the house of dreams here in Game 3 for the Denver Nuggets? Utah in control most of the way. 7 on the shot clock. Stockton, who has not missed an attempt in this half. 6 for 6. Malone for 3.
That's the one you got to have. You play all that defense and then you don't rebound the ball. You know they're going to set for another 24 seconds if they have to, because Jerry Sloan wants patience so that his team can get back at the other end of the floor and play defense.
Away from the ball, you see all the picks and setups for Malone. Now quiet as Humphrey with 4 has to force the shot. And look at Benoit, almost got an easy 2. Pack to Ellis. Or when they run, they're a different team, the Nuggets. The lead is 4. Timeout, Utah.
A good long pass gets them out of the open court, and LaPhonso Ellis Ellis wanted to throw it down and realized, I just better lay it in.
It finds its way. 9:33, and in Denver, they still believe.
Miller Genuine Draft presents Genuine Moments.
Today's Miller Genuine Draft Genuine Moment highlights the playing career of Nuggets coach Dan Issel. Played his first 5 years with the ABA Kentucky Colonels. He anchored their '75 championship team. The man called Horse. He ended his 15-year career here in Denver, where he averaged 20.6 points per game. When he retired, he was the 5th highest scorer in NBA ABA history. In recognition of this moment, Miller Genuine Draft will donate $1,000 to the Thurgood Marshall Scholarship Fund. One of the 4 retired numbers, 44, Dan Issel. He was a color commentator on television for the 4 years prior to becoming the Denver head coach.
At halftime, he sounded very confident. Now there's reason to be more confident. He's within 4. His team has got some energy. Mistake, and Ellis will pick up his 4th foul.
David Benoit on the setup from Stockton.
That's why it's critical to have John Stockton backing up. When he can turn that corner, he's going to be able to see people coming into the lane, and Stockton is able to get a screen. Now, they don't stop him right here. He's looking inside. There's David Benoit right at the basket.
There's a David Benoit jazz pianist. This is the jazz player off the bench who has played his role well, although he's not had a big game today. He's one of those dangerous floaters that John Lucas worries about. The guys that wake up in the middle of the night saying, how am I going to stop this one? I didn't think about him. Benoit in the book, 5-point lead.
Benoit is one of those players that has great offensive potential, but he's got to see the ball go in. If he doesn't, then he becomes a reluctant offensive player. Ellis trying to go against Malone.
Doesn't get it. Boy, does he go after his own rebound and scores. No basket. It was going in, and Rodgers stuck his left paw in there, and they don't get the goal. That ball was going to drop.
Ellis with a huge effort to get him another chance, and he knows he's getting fouled, just throws it back up, and there it is.
Well, the rookie mistake cost Denver 2 points. Ellis still gets a 2-point opportunity at the line. Now with 10 in the game.
Mutombo comes back in. Brian Williams certainly did a good job in his stead. Felton Spencer's going to get back in the game as well.
9 minutes, 3 seconds left. Ellis gets both free throws. He's 5 for 5 from the line. The lead is down to 3. Once at 16 in the 3rd quarter for Utah. Chambers against Rodgers. Malone from way outside. And the mailman going the aerial route again.
Well,
20 points.
That's okay, because what the Nuggets had on that play was pressure on the ball in almost every possession. Malone against the clock bailed him out. But if he's going to have to shoot that deep, you're going to get some misses.
Mutombo, Ellis, Malone on him. Rodgers tries a 3. Stiff over Malone and draws the foul. Brian Stiff at 6'5". Positioning himself to grab the rebound right out of Karl Malone's hands. That doesn't happen often. And gets the foul.
The key to rebounding is position, and Karl Malone allowed Stiff to sneak inside and out-jump him. He quicked him to the ball, and then Malone tried to come over the top. Stiff has been the guy that's been fortunate enough to be in the right spot, in close, pick up fouls and chances for 3-point plays.
He converts the 3-point play. It's a 2-point game. Malone doesn't get this one, and Denver with a chance to tie. Mutombo on the rebound. Pack on the fly.
There's a man who doesn't know what he's going to do from dribble to dribble.
Reggie Williams doesn't get it, and Spencer has the rebound for Utah. 83-81. Here come the Jazz.
On that last possession, Pat made about 3 decisions and called each one of them off.
You know what his number 1 choice was, though.
Yeah, jam if I can get it in there.
Stockton to Malone. Karl Malone with a running hook. He has 22. What a great player he is. Only Kareem Jabbar in 9 straight years where he scored over 2,000 points. Malone's done it 7 straight years.
Malone knows how to answer the bell under pressure. They're now trying to post stiff against Jay Humphries. They get the push, but Brian Stiff now says, we got to play. We got the play that'll work every time against the Jazz guard. You give me the ball down on the box, I'll make something happen.
So Humphries goes out, and Jeff Hornacek returns for Utah.
Jazz have 14 fouls, so the next one will put the Nuggets into the penalty, and they're staying with the big backcourt for them with Stiff and Pat. Reggie Williams now down on the box against Hornacek.
Oh my goodness. Hornacek gets an elbow. LaPhonso Ellis gets the basket. 85-83 Utah. And Hornacek really took a blow on that exchange.
Down on the box, they're posting up, and right here he's trying to get free, and the elbow comes up high. That was more to draw the official's attention, but he didn't like it. He came right back in, put his body on, and said, hey, I'm not taking it.
And Hornacek gets the foul, and Stiff on the technical.
And you know what he said? He elbowed me in my throat.
85-84. The 1-point lead at halftime for Utah. They built it to 16 in the 3rd. The Nuggets have rallied to 1.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Sprite. Image is nothing. Thirst is everything. Obey your thirst. Sprite. By the U.S. Army. Learn how to get an edge on life. Be all you can be. And by Acura. Some things are worth the price.
Who would have thunk it 3 years ago that the Denver Nuggets would turn this mile-high city upside down? Here's that Hornacek exchange.
And you'll see the reason for the technical. He tries to draw the foul there. He's unhappy about, he did take a little hit, but then he comes back and instigates the incident, so they end up teeing Jeff Hornacek as the officials try to control the game.
6.5 minutes to go in the 4th. Malone is blocked by Mutombo, but a foul before the shot. Reggie Williams with the hold. His 3rd.
But again, some great execution down on the baseline with the screen to free up Karl Malone. And when Malone is down in that area, he is thinking foul all the way. And he comes off the screen and catches. He's thinking get the ball in the air as quickly as he can. So he will come back to the line.
Malone finished the year 5th in NBA scoring and 8th in rebounds. He's the all-time Jazz scorer and rebounder. And his numbers even higher here in the 6 playoff games.
So after a quiet first half of 9, Karl Malone is loading his team back up on his back.
It's both free throws. Has 24 to lead all scores.
15 in the second half and 6 here in the 4th quarter of play. They're coming back to the post-up. Reggie Williams against Jeff Hornacek. Oh, he got caught. He spun away, and as he spun, Hornacek went to the ground, and they called a push-off, and that is a painful call for Dan Issel. Right here, he's got him right where he wants him, and they want to run a lob. And as he spins away, because Hornacek is holding, his arm came up, caught him in the back.
Officials watching that one closely, and no one has won that exchange. 3-point lead, Utah on the ball as Hornacek fires. Right down the bottom of the well. 17 for Hornacek.
Now what the Nuggets have to remember is they're not going to catch up or go ahead all in one shot. So they got to continue to try to make the Jazz defense reaction. They're trying to find somebody inside.
Robert Pack at 6'2", slipping inside, and it's Mutombo, a reversal of roles, who has the assist. Hornacek gets the foul.
Mutombo doesn't give the ball up very often, and I think that's what surprised the Jazz and Hornacek, and Pack's response is, give me one more.
Robert Pack. No one wanted him. No one drafted him out of the University of Southern California, where he played for George Raveling. Unable to make it a three-point play. It remains a three-point lead for the Utah Jazz. 5 minutes and 40 seconds to play in the fourth.
Issel keeps moving him in and out. Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf is in the game since down.
5 on the shot clock. The postman. Rebound Williams. Stolen by Malone. We did that in game 2. Just hides around that perimeter line. And Hornacek makes the Nuggets pay. Karl Malone with a great steal that leads to 3 points and a lead of 6.
And Dan Issel was out at midcourt. I don't know what he was doing out there, maybe picking up something off the floor, but he was really unhappy about that exchange.
Robert Pack. Malone and Ellis, and a foul on Ellis. His 5th.
Reggie Williams with a big rebound and trying to push the ball, and you got to come to meet the ball. The guy that does is Karl Malone, and out of it, Dan Issel running out on the floor. Let me get that mouthpiece. And now, let me get rid of that mouthpiece.
That could be the critical play to deny the Nuggets comeback win here today. A 22nd timeout called by Jerry Sloan. Well, tonight it's Bob Hope's birthday bash on NBC with highlights and classic clips. Birthdays past, a celebration of Bob's 91st birthday. You won't want to miss it. Lucille Ball, Frank Sinatra, George Springs, Elizabeth Taylor, Diana Ross, Brooke Shields, and many more of Hollywood's biggest stars in an all-new Bob Hope birthday special that starts at 8 Eastern, 7 Central, followed by an all-new Sisters. That's tonight on NBC.
There are 4 minutes, 58 seconds to go in the game. You got a 6-point lead. If you're the Utah Jazz, they're going to try to be patient and work the clock and try to execute and find Karl Malone. Denver has got to continue to be aggressive, but don't think that they're going to catch up in 1 or 2 plays.
Hornacek. Oh, is he hot in this second half. Stockton and Hornacek, they call it a 2. Yes, 94-86, and timeout called by Dan Issel as the Nuggets tantalizingly drawn to within 1, and then Hornacek and Stockton shoot it away. If Utah wins game 3, it's going to be from the backcourt tandem starters Hornacek and Stockton. They're 17 for 25 from the floor, 68% shooting. And many of those, especially from Hornacek, off balance from way out.
Hornacek came into this series shooting 40% and 31% in the first 2 games. And he has heated up. I thought he had a sore thumb.
That's right. He wasn't even using his right hand in layups as they warmed up. It's certainly cured here in this rarefied air. LaPhonso Ellis with the entire Jazz team collapsing on him, able to score and draw the foul.
The one play that has worked for Dan Issel has been the mismatch, either for LaPhonso Ellis, Brian Stith, or Reggie Williams. And with Ty Corbett back in the game, they immediately go back to the bigger. Supposed to be a power forward, but he's playing a small forward. Ellis scores, and now he has a chance for a 3-point play.
Jerry Sloan notes that Felton Spencer has his 5th foul. Ellis missing, but Mutombo gets it back. A chance for a 4-point play or better for Denver. 94-88 the score.
Patience is the word. They should come back with the same play until they make the Utah Jazz make an adjustment.
Brian Williams doesn't have a shoe. Look at his left shoe had been lost, so as he went into the lane, he was sliding as if he were on ice. But he gets the foul from Spencer, and that's his 6th. So Sloan didn't have time to get Spencer out of the game, and he has left disqualified with 6. 8 points, 8 rebounds. Solid contribution on the defensive end from Felton Spencer.
More than a little hot, but we're on the miss. The shoe comes off. And that's when you said, no, somebody doesn't have a shoe. That's not going to stop him from playing.
He's slipping and sliding. He's got that left shoe. The heel is partially cut out because of an aggravation on the back of that left heel around the Achilles. So it does come off more easily. 2 big free throws here that could cut the Utah lead to 4. Williams has only 2 points today.
But this is a huge possession. At 4:58, they were down 8. They get a foul for LaPhonso Ellis as we take a look at the shoe, and then he comes back with a big rebound, and now they have a chance for the 4-point play if Williams cashes it.
94-90. 4 minutes to go. Tom Chambers has replaced Felton Spencer. Gives Utah more firepower, but perhaps not quite the defensive strength that Spencer has. Hornacek to Malone. Malone won't drop. Ellis has become a tiger on the boards, both ends. 7 in the game for LaPhonso.
They want to come back to Mutombo against Tom Chambers. Another mismatch, but will he be able to get something happening? He's going to have to give it up.
Ellis wants it. Got it. 94-92. 6 in a row for Denver. Hornacek. And that'll be a jump ball.
10 in the quarter for LaPhonso Ellis, so he's loaded him up on his back and saying, guys, I'll get us there. I need some help to get over the top. And he get a good defensive stop that time as the ball got wedged between the glass and the hoop, and they'll have a jump ball at center court.
That's a tough break for Dan Issel. He kind of moaned as he walked away because that shot was way off, and Denver had rebounding position. So it'll be Benoit against Mutombo. So the obvious height advantage here to Dikembe. 94-92. Utah leads. Denver with a ball, less than 3 to go.
Coming back to Mutombo.
Ellis. Oh, what a quarter for LaPhonso Ellis. Not unlike the brilliant play that he sent at Seattle a week ago. 19 for Ellis. Block. Here comes Pack. To Ellis.
Fourth quarter and 14, and an emphatic 14 points for Ellis.
Sunday, tip-off times 1 Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific sharp when the Hawks face the Pacers. Then, Hakeem and the Rockets try to even the score with Barkley and the Suns. And in prime time, the Bulls look to make it 2 in a row against Ewing and the Knicks. The ball's in the air at 1 Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific for Triple Header Sunday on NBC.
What a quarter for LaPhonso Ellis. He's made 6 out of 7 field goal attempts. He scored the last 6 points. He's cleared both ends, rebounding, has 20 in the game. And it's the first lead for Denver since the final minute of the opening half. In fact, Denver's never led by more than 2 points. Utah once by 16 in the third quarter.
got to credit Robert Pack for coming in and pressuring the ball and making it difficult for the Utah Jazz to get into their set, trying to make a play.
Malone off balance, but Chambers gets it. Mutombo on the block. 3-on-1. Oh, and Pack throws it away. One pass too many.
Mutombo with a huge save after the rebound. Tom Chambers up high and thought for sure he had an easy two, and that ball is knocked out long, and they made one pass too many, and the Jazz have it back trying to tie.
6 blocks now for Mutombo. We're in the final 2 minutes here at McNichols in Denver, Colorado. Many fans not sitting down. Hornacek misses badly there. And it's LaPhonso Ellis who's going to start Denver. They've never led by more than 2.
The play that has worked for them has been down on the box with either Ellis or Mutombo to start. They're going to try to free up LaPhonso Ellis against David Benoit.
Mutombo came out of there like he was hit by a bee. Ellis over Benoit. And Benoit rebounds.
Everyone was yelling, shoot, and Ellis didn't know how much time was on the shot clock. They were down to 2.
Yeah, he was at an angle where he couldn't see the shot clock. Chambers. Brian Williams on him. Stockton says, bring it out. I'll set it up. Malone sets the pick. Stockton over Brian Williams to tie it. John Stockton with 18.
He was waiting for the defense to commit. Nobody came to him. So he knocked it down to tie it up. They're going to come back to Mutombo against Tom Chambers.
Final minute, it's tied at 96. Dikembe over Chambers, doesn't get it. Scramble for the rebound, and it's LaPhonso Ellis with a loose ball. New 24. And a timeout, Dan Issel.
Chambers is looking at the official and saying, this guy is wearing me out.
96 all. 29 seconds to go. We're down to the final 28.9 seconds with a game on the line. And here's the other vital statistic.
Right here, that's really the most important thing is fouls to give, and the Nuggets have one. The Jazz have nothing left, and out of this, they want to make sure they have good execution. There's about 9 seconds between shot clock and game, so should they score, they can foul and still force the Jazz to set up one more time.
All right, the final huddle. This youngest of all the NBA teams, the team with the worst record coming into the playoffs of the 16, 42 wins, 40 losses, but the team that started the dream in Seattle a week ago, and they pull off a rally today. Into Brian Williams. Karl Malone with a foul. His 5th. Aggressively going at the ball. You bring it down around your waist, and those big mitts of his are all over it.
They go power against power, and Brian Williams went up with a real strong effort. Malone tried to get it, and Karl Malone has said, look, I know I'm going to score points, but I really want to try to play defense to help my team win. Now we'll find out just how big the basket is for Brian Williams. You know, for big guys, it gets real small coming down the stretch.
He's 10 for 17 in the series from the line. Denver by 1. Brian Williams' father, former star, still is with the Platters singing group, sang the national anthem.
He's not the great pretender. He's shooting this one, and he's trying to shoot it for good.
Nothing pretending there. Dead center on both. Remember, they got the foul to give here.
The crowd is saying foul. Malone for 3.
Over the combo. No, they say he was on the line. It's a 2, and it ties it at 98. It sure looked as if that was a trade. Robert Pack aggressively. Can't get it. Brian Williams can't get it. Regulation game ends at 98, and we go to overtime. And Malone and Sloan are arguing the game should be over, that was a three-point shot by Karl Malone.
The crowd was yelling, you got to foul the give. Foul him, foul him, foul him. And the penetration, they kicked the ball back out from John Stockton to Karl Malone. He is clearly behind the line until then. And he steps on the line. And so it goes to OT.
Karl Malone, if only I was a size 12. That size 19 foiled me. As it was a week ago in Seattle, the Denver Nuggets go to overtime on this Saturday at 98. Utah within Karl Malone's big toe, going out of here with a 3-0 lead in this series. Now that we're in the new 5-minute period, the foul situation becomes more critical in that Felton Spencer already out with 6 fouls. Karl Malone has 5. LaPhonso Ellis with 5 for Denver.
The way Ellis has played, you wouldn't think he's at 5. He had 14 in the quarter to get him back and get him on top. And now we'll start a new session, and we'll find out whether he can remain that aggressive.
Mutombo, as expected, wins the tap. It's Abdul-Rauf, Brian Williams, LaPhonso Ellis, Robert Pack, and Mutombo for Denver. Stockton, Hornacek, Malone, Benoit, and Chambers for Utah. LaPhonso Ellis takes the first shot. Wow, is he hot.
They're going at Karl Malone to make him play defense, and if they react, LaPhonso Ellis is open for a shot.
Denver's 3rd overtime game in the playoffs. There have been 6. Give and go. Hornacek scores. Malone with the assist. It's tied at 100. 24 points for Jeff Hornacek.
And that's an area in which Karl Malone has improved in dramatically, giving the ball up to cutters coming down the lane, and the Utah Jazz, they're more willing to cut to the hoop because of it.
Brian Williams, again, Malone with 5. He couldn't give it all of his defense, did as much as he could with a body, and Brian Williams took advantage.
Good job by Issel to keep the pressure on Karl Malone.
Against Denver.
You have to let him run, and Robert Pack does not allow any movement for John Stockton, so it's right in front of the officials and a call, and the Jazz get a new 24. Now, when Malone is inside and he knows Mutombo is on his back, he's not looking to be a scorer. He's looking to make a pass.
Walking Stockton. Hornacek has it deflected, but it goes right to Malone. Scramble, and Chambers comes up with it, and a jump ball. Chambers thought he had possession, and that the Nuggets flying at him were fouling in order to get their hands on it.
Malone was only thinking foul. If I can get this up in the air, maybe get lucky, I'm going to get a call because of Mutombo's long arms, and Brian Williams, he thought he had the ball. This is the kind of game you can lose your voice in.
Chambers with a half-foot advantage over Robert Pack, but Pack can really sky. Well, he was up there, and Williams gets the tap. The Nuggets with a 2-point lead. 3:15 left in overtime.
So they're going to come back to the same play with Brian Williams against Karl Malone.
And back out to Abdul-Rauf for 3. Well short, and Malone has the rebound. Abdul-Rauf just grimacing as he comes back on defense. He was open. Oh, a lot of bodies colliding, and there's Benoit from outside. Mutombo loses the battle to Malone, and there's Stockton for 3. Brian Williams. Well, the Jazz, so hot-handed in the third quarter when they made 16 of 20, have cooled considerably since.
If you're going to see a breakdown, it's going to be from the perimeter shot. Again, they're going to stay with this play until the Jazz can make an adjustment.
Pack inside, blocked by Chambers.
You had everything you wanted on that play.
Now Chambers the other way to Mutombo, and he scores over to Kembe Mutombo. So Chambers at both ends, the block to earn him a chance to tie it on the offensive side.
They had the Nuggets had the execution offensively. They made the defense react. They got movement away. Now they're going to come back to this side with LaPhonso Ellis against David Benoit. Oh, the travel.
And finally, 3 seconds to call against Denver. And you saw the mailman in there with his hand in the postal drop.
That's exactly what you want the offensive player to do. Cut to the hoop, and Chambers made a great reaction, and then coming the other way, he changed the shot to get it over Mutombo.
1:40 left in overtime. Hornacek with a quick trigger. He hits the three, and Utah leads for the first time in this extra period. And it's a big three from Hornacek with a game-high 27 points for the Jazz. His high in the previous 6 games of these playoffs, 15. Jeff Hornacek, bothered by a bad thumb, has 27 today. Jeff Hornacek, who twice made it to the NBA Western Finals with Phoenix, only to lose to the Lakers and to Portland. And at the All-Star game, we were up in Minneapolis, and Karl Malone, very outspoken, said the Jazz management really is serious about trying to win this thing. We got to get another player. And they did. They got Jeff Hornacek for Jeff Malone.
And the reason for getting Hornacek is that three-point shot he just made. Jeff Malone is a great two-point shooter, and they needed to open up the offense a little bit more, get some more room inside, and a guy like Hornacek stretches the defense. He nailed that one. We got 1:32 left in the ball game. The Nuggets still have plenty of time to either tie or get on top, and they have to have patience. They've got good plays working. They've been working down on the post and making the Jazz react, so they should stay with that and make Karl Malone play defense.
Malone strapped with 5 fouls.
For Brian Williams, the operative word is patience and control. Don't try to do everything in a hurry. They're trying to come across and find LaPhonso Ellis.
Now to Brian Williams. To Ellis. He hits again. He was 6 for 7 in the fourth quarter, and he's made both of his shots here in the extra period and leads Denver with 25. A 1-point game, Utah leading as we tick it down to the 1-minute mark in overtime. Stockton left alone. Can't do that. And the star from Gonzaga in Spokane hits another. 20 points for him.
The mistake that Denver is making is that Robert Pack wants Mutombo to step out. He's not going to step out in that situation. He wants to get back and protect the hole.
Brian Williams well short. And Mutombo trying to reach down. A long way to go for him, to the mountain, to go all the way down to the base. And a foul is called on Tom Chambers for reaching in. Or reaching down.
Well, the best thing out of that is they get a new 24 seconds, and they should be able to come back with the same sort of play down on the box and trying to get Mutombo the ball against the mismatch with Tom Chambers.
Or Abdul Rauf 3. He takes the 2 and hits it. Off balance, but drills it. 1-point game with 42 seconds to go. 17,000 plus. Standing as one here at McNichols in Denver.
Same play.
Same result. Stockton Cooley drops in his 22nd point. Timeout Denver. 3-point lead for the Jazz. 30 seconds to go. John Stockton, dead center, 2 in a row.
A little role reversal, but when you find a play that works, you stay with it. There's going to be a screen right here by Karl Malone against Robert Pack. Pack's going to come in there, and Mutombo needs to step out. Now, as we let it clear, you're going to see that Mutombo stays back. Stockton has all the time in the world to nail the shot, and that has been back-to-back hoops to give him that three-point advantage. And we have 30.2 seconds to play.
Karl Malone, he may be the postal clerk, the head mailman, but how about the backcourt of Stockton and Hornacek? 49 points for the starting pair for Utah. And they've shot the Jazz back into the lead. Abdul Rauf and Smith 15 points less.
3 players with 20 or more, and Hornacek is the high with 27, Malone with 26 and 22. So what the Nuggets want out of this possession is a score. They will still have at least one more opportunity if they come very quickly with their scoring chance.
Abdul Rauf surrounded by 3 of the Jazz. Hits another tough leaner in traffic. 109-108. 20 points for Abdul Rauf.
Now the Nuggets use that foul this time, and Utah will have the clock and the game to run it out. So Robert Pack and the Nuggets, they have to force something here. They can't let Stockton run out the clock.
Got to put someone on the line.
They got a foul.
And there it is with 9 seconds left. LaPhonso Ellis, and that'll take the hottest hand for Denver out of the game. That's his 6th. He leaves with 25 points and a brilliant fourth quarter and overtime effort that carried this Denver team into OT and gave them a chance to win it in the final seconds.
Ellis is telling Pack, hey, we had to foul. And yeah, even though I'm leaving the game, we couldn't let that clock run. He fouls out a terrific second half for him, particularly in that fourth quarter. Now he's got to hope for a miracle. He's got to hope either that Stockton misses one, and if not, they come back with a three-point play of some type.
He's got Reggie Williams, who can shoot the 3, and their top three-point shooter, of course, is Abdul Rauf.
Rauf has come back with 2 real tough leaners, so his confidence in that basket may have opened up for him.
109-108. Stockton's first free throw of the game gives him his 23rd point and a 2-point lead.
Huge game as he has really climbed up on the scoring this afternoon.
Averaged 15 on the season. The league's best assist man, and he's shown he not only can give up the ball and set up his partners, but he can put it in the hole himself. Timeout. Utah by 3. 9.2 seconds to go for Denver. Welcome back. Utah leading by 3. 9.2 seconds left, and this dream month of May for the Denver Nuggets is going to require something very spectacular now, and the three-point shooter is Abdul Rauf, and you know that Jerry Sloan is telling his men to don't give him anything close to an open shot at it.
If you're the Utah Jazz, possession is everything. You can come out of this thinking we can foul, put them on the line, get the basketball back, and walk out of here with that 3rd victory. If you're Dan Issel, he's probably thinking right now, I got to go for the home run. Give himself 2 chances to tie the ball game up. So he's going to take the first score available. He could get a 3-point play inside with Dikembe Mutombo, or something over the top with Rodney Rogers, Reggie Williams, or Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf.
Rogers, the rookie in, and he's the man who made 3 threes in 9 seconds against Utah in the regular season.
Now, the officials are telling Mutombo and Tom Chambers, watch out, but they...
It's Rogers who takes the 3, way off the mark, but a foul by Karl Malone, his 6th of the game. So Malone out with 4.8 seconds left, leaves with 26 points.
Now he knew from that other game that Rodney Rogers had the ability to shoot it deep and shoot it clean, and he was up on him, so they get a foul and have a chance to score. Now the strategy for Dan Issel. You either have your player make both of the free throws and then come back with a quick foul and again try to hope that they miss, or you miss one and then hope that you can get the rebound and put it back in. Now that is the toughest scenario there is, to get someone who can shoot the ball softly enough where you can step in, rebound it, and score.
We'll see Charles Barkley in Phoenix against Houston tomorrow, and Barkley's done that a couple times in the playoffs, found a way to work his way in to get a rebound basket off a missed free throw. Rogers hits the first. It's a 2-point game, 111-109.
And Sloan wants a timeout.
So high-level strategy with 4.8 seconds left. Goes to Chicago Stadium. Patrick Ewing having a huge playoff series against Scottie Pippen. A big Y over his head. Why would you think more about your shot, yourself, than your team trying to win Game 3? They win it. And now will they get their house in order for tomorrow's critical Game 4? That's all ahead tomorrow here on NBC. Now the second free throw attempt by Rodney Rogers. 4.8 seconds left.
And you see, and Hornacek is guarding Brian Stithers in the game. Everyone is aware of Brian Williams and Dikembe Mutombo. They shoot for a miss.
And it's rebounded by Stephen Howard. And John Stockton throws it when it comes down. Utah has a 3-0 lead in this playoff series. The Utah Jazz have won 6 playoff games in a row. So much for the dream on this Saturday in Denver in overtime. The Utah Jazz 111-109. This has been the NBA on NBC.
In a new world, a new standard of excellence. NBC Sports.